Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next session of part of the Black Women Photographers Summit, powered by Adobe Lightroom. I am just so excited for this. I mean, I've been excited for all of them because I keep saying that because I truly am so excited for each guest. Our guest today, Morgan Payne, is one who really, truly your work just like radiates love, advocacy, and authenticity. Morgan Payne is born and raised on Chicago's South Side, is a proud photographer, graphic designer, HBCU graduate, and brand strategist. She was recently named to the 2025 Creatives for Justice Grassroots Collaborative Fellowship, and she's deeply committed to equity and community empowerment. Inspired by her daughter Myla's autism journey, Morgan co-founded Bloom, a nonprofit social club connecting neurodivergent and neurotropical typical children. Bloom inspired her beautiful gallery project In Full Bloom, which celebrates the beauty, love, and joy of autism families. She's also one of our 2025 Black women photographers and Nikon grant recipients. Where she received a $5,000 grant for one of her personal projects. And today we'll dive into her creative journey, her approach to building community through art, and her experience navigating grants and funding as a Black woman photographer. Morgan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored.
I am just so excited to just hear about like the why and just like I mean your work is just so intentional and powerful. But let's start at the beginning. You know, you are a proud Southside Chicago native, also like one of our other grant recipients and speakers, Tanika, who we had on the first day of the summit. Can you tell us what first drew you to photography and design?
Yeah, so I went to Texas Southern University, and my first couple weeks on campus, I didn't know anybody in Texas at all. So I met someone, and she actually brought me to the yearbook room. And if you don't know, HBCUs have yearbooks. It's a real big thing. It's how we kind of get media exposure and things like that. So I had the honor of working on staff there, and that was like the first time I actually picked up a camera. So the first time I picked up a camera, I picked up a Canon, the Rebel series, and I worked at just shooting events and stuff. And then I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with just being able to story tell behind my photography, and I've always been an activist, self-proclaimed, but uh, doing photography and kind of falling into that, like that kind of pushed me using my creativity and my art for advocacy. So that kind of launched me into just learning more about photography and graphic design and things like that. And then I became the CEO or editor in chief of the yearbook there. So there I kind of got more exposure, actually staffing photographers and things like that. So that was a great experience. But definitely, I have to shout out my HBCU for even exposing me to photography.
I love that. I mean, like you mentioned, you do so many different disciplines. Your path, like from photography, design, and even branding. How do those different creative roles influence each other for you?
Yeah, so I right now is my season of kind of like branding myself and knowing that I used to think that especially as a Black woman, like I was jumping around too much, and I was like not focused and not like honing my all my skills. So that's why I kind of coined myself as a brand strategist because I do use my graphic design experience with Photoshop and Adobe. Shout out Adobe. That is kind of a self-taught thing that I've actually self-taught me myself, photography and Lightroom, using Lightroom and using Photoshop. So that like really helped with just like my skills and kind of using the graphic skills that I did learn and teach myself and using it in my photography. And right now, I kind of coin myself as like a mixed media artist more so. because the cool thing about the fellowship and the cohort that I'm a part of now is that I'm able to kind of use my graphic and my photography. And the campaign I'm working on is called Babies Before Billionaires. And with that, it's kind of showing, the effects of the special needs community and our resources being cut and things like that. So I'm able to graphically tell a story and especially with my photography, kind of combine the two.
That is incredible, and I really am glad that you are leaning in instead of, like, how you mentioned, like I remember when I first picked up my camera and everybody was like, "You have to, like, master you can only do one thing, you have to pick one, just one,"
Mhm.
right? And you're like, "No, I'm gonna do all the things."
Yeah, I didn't want to fit into or put myself in a box.
Mm.
But I love being able to like represent myself as just having different mediums and just being a resource is like really important to me. So,
And you mentioned that you're an HBCU graduate, and for those who don't know, HBCU is a historically Black college or university. You mentioned you're a HBCU graduate. How did that experience shape your creative identity and your community values?
yeah, so great question. I always wanted to go to HBCU. Like I just remember watching what was the movie Drumline, Drumline, and like wanting
Ah, I love
wanting that college experience. So going there was just like a no-brainer for me because I always been, a little activist. And when I went to Texas Southern, I didn't know anybody there. I didn't know anybody in Houston at all. So for me to kind of find my voice through like my art was like super important. And then there I also got exposure with like shooting celebrities and kind of conducting myself and on sets and professionalism and things like that. So I actually went to Africa. They paid for it, full ride to, we went to Liberia and it was service work. And I actually took my camera and just being able to like capture that through the lens and like go back to it but also like tell their story kind of threw me more into community organizing. So that's what I did after that is I actually went to go be a community organizer. And I just knew that working in the community but also like storytelling as an organizer was something that I've always wanted to hold on to, and that's definitely, I can definitely coin that too. My HBCU for sure.
that is just so cool, and I can't even imagine all the things you learned from that trip. Um,
Mhm,
when you're thinking back to those early days, was
mhm,
there, like, a particular defining moment or a person or maybe that trip was the experience that
mhm.
affirmed that you were meant to tell, these stories through your lens?
Yeah, so I remember being on like we had like a, transport bus, and it was multiple schools, HBCUs that joined, but it was a professor from I believe like Morehouse or something, and he said he was like, "Hey, I just want to let you all know we actually visited an orphanage." And he's like, I just wanted to let you all know that yes, this is something that they're dealing with. However, back home, there's people that's going through this in your own backyards. And that like stuck with me because I'm like, not negating their experience at all or saying is one is worse than the other. But just to recognize that like, oh, like he's right. There's people that I know or people that, some of my friends know that deal and struggle with poverty and deal with the same kind of issues. And they also deserve to their story to be told. So coming back home and like carrying that with me and always having that back of my mind, like I think it just further pushes me into telling people stories that need it the most.
That is really profound what you're just sharing there, along those same lines, like I said, like, your work is deeply rooted in equity and empowerment. What does that look like for you in practice, both in your art, but also just how you move through other community spaces?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I started a nonprofit organization called Bloom. So Bloom is a social group. We do social groups for neurodivergent and neurotypical children. So I started that with my old high school classmate, and that was so important for me to start because, of course, my daughter, and just kind of like diving into the special needs community and, understanding that there's not a lot of resources or enough resources at all for little ones like my daughter and just wanting to start something that was meaningful, impactful, and then also just always going back to the mission of like storytelling. And I use that as well. I take my camera, I shoot the social clubs. We're actually building a learning management system right now on our platform, and we're doing professional videos. So we're using videos to model ABA, which is applied behavioral analysis, ABA techniques, and showing parents in the community how to deal and how to go through some of the issues that we go through while also applying those techniques and making it accessible. So that's like really important to me to make this information accessible, digestible, and also creative and holding on to that.
Absolutely, and, with that, came in full bloom, the gallery, that celebrates autism families, and it's such a powerful and joyful concept, and it's the project that, you received a grant from us for. What was the most moving story or moment you captured so far through this project?
Yeah, so this is actually one of my favorite shoots out of the gallery so far. So this is my friend Katrina and her lovely family, and I just love the representation and just showing like the love and without even knowing them, that my friend in the salmon color shirt, that he is like the pinnacle of the picture, and he is loved, and I just love to look at these pictures and just show it. It was such a beautiful day too. It was nice outside, and you can tell that he really loves the older boy. He really loves his brother, and just to be able to capture that like was really meaningful and beautiful to me.
It's so, so beautiful. What do hope to do next with this project?
Yeah, so I'm actually having my first gallery event November 29th um,
Oh,
in Chicago. So if anyone is in Chicago, please reach out and I will let you know information. But my first gallery event, and it's also going to double as a fundraiser for Bloom. So just always holding on to Bloom and, pushing that my mission and using my art to help us in any kind of capacity is something that is always going to be a priority for me. So I'm really excited about the gallery, and I'm excited to celebrate the families. I'm inviting all of the families and telling them to invite their families, and it's going to be a beautiful night because it's not just about, oh, look at my picture, look at you in the picture, but also I really want people to feel the joy and the joy that I get from my daughter every day, and it is a struggle. It is a struggle. Some days she's mean, but but she is beautiful, and I don't think we as just a community we are highlighted in that light enough.
no, I mean, I completely agree, and that's why your project really, stuck out to us, within the committee, for this year's grant cycle, but we'll talk about that in just a second. I wanna go back to that moment, that family you photographed the photos we saw.
Mhm.
When you photograph community, like, especially, people that especially your own, how do you navigate that balance between both, like, insider, but also storyteller?
Yeah. So I think I do really well at that because of my community organizing experience, and just being an advocate. So in Texas, I was a healthcare justice organizer. So but I was also, I think I had just had a newborn. Yeah, I had just had my baby. And going through some of the health issues that I went through and kind of still having to fight for other people, I think that also really helps in my photography because I know that I'm, also impacted by this. But I'm also not afraid to show my passion. I'm also not afraid to let the families know, like, hey, I also have a child on the spectrum. So if we need extra time, an extra hour, like I never rush my families and things like that because I understand. So I think it honestly just helps me to be able to really capture some of those moments. So for example, like the picture with them running and playing, it was a candid moment. I kind of just tell them, hey, like, just do what you do. Just do what you all like, what you all love to do day by day. I don't like, too much poses. I just told them, hey, go play with
Yeah.
your brother. And like knowing those moments and like being able to capture those moments, I feel like I do well at because I have those moments with my baby myself. So
It's so beautiful, it's just so authentic, and I really am glad that, like you said, you just allow them to be, right?
yeah.
It didn't force anything, it's just beautiful, and I wanna dive a little bit into this project some more. Like I mentioned, you were one of our 2025 grant recipients from our grant initiative with Nikon.
Mhm.
Um, let's talk about something that many artists struggle with it is funding our visions, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a project like this or whether it's a nonprofit like your Blue nonprofit,
Mhm.
you um you do it in a way that again it feels very attainable that like okay this can be possible. um what was like the grant application like for you
Mhm.
for this grant cycle for our grant fund, and
Mhm.
any lessons or surprises that you had when doing it?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest surprise was actually getting it. um, I I saw it so many times. And I think like, what Erica mentioned about just having imposter syndrome really
Yeah.
resonated with me because it stopped me from so much. And that's why,
Mm,
I gladly say that you all changed my life because y'all gave me the confidence to even want to apply to things like this or feel like I could
yeah.
actually get things like so when I got it, that was the major shock and the major surprise.
Mm,
But the application, I actually cried writing the application because
oh,
I just want people to know the beauty of, us in this community. And I want people, and sometimes, I get like over passionate with things because I'm like, no, I just really want I don't, it wasn't about the money. Of course, that of course aided to me with finishing this project. But just the fact that like I've been heard, like we people are listening to us now. And like that's more important to me to like showcase families and showcase like the beauty of that because even, if you're an autism parent and you're on social media or something, like 9 times out of 10, all of your algorithm is going to be about change this behavior or this or this. I had a hard day or somebody, it was a viral video. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with parents expressing what we're actually going through and that frustration and that anger and that sadness. But I just wanted to be the one to say like, hey, like we also experience moments of beauty and pure moments of joy. So the application, like just being able to even tell my story in that way, like winning or not, like just to be recognized, like that meant the world to me. So
wow, I'm so happy to hear that, and like I said, it definitely stood out for because of all the things. I mean, people could tell when somebody's like pouring their heart into something, and that was shown. Um, so I mean, like that was truly shown. And, I think many photographers, creatives in general find applying to grants like intimidating. Like
mhm,
you said, you almost didn't apply, but what advice would you share for other artists, Black women artists, who want to apply for funding but don't know where to start?
Yeah. I would definitely say, just from a personal perspective and like a community-led perspective, like don't be afraid to show that passion. Don't be afraid to, well, first of all, don't be afraid to apply for it at all, at all. Like go for it. But also like think about the impact that you're going to make or that you could make, by being able to be on a platform like this. And I think like that was my biggest motivator is like, okay, like winning this, yes, I'll get funding, but also I will be able to shine a light on my community. I'll be able to, shine a light on my work or whatever. So just applying for it and not letting imposter syndrome and not letting that self-doubt stop you from that. I think is the biggest, most obvious piece, of course, but sometimes it's you need to hear that. And I'm glad that the winner, I looked at the winners before me, and I'm just like, I could do this. Like I can, be amongst wonderful, wonderful Black women photographers like we've seen. And I can, really, really show my passion. And I'm just honored to even have gotten it. So,
No, I mean, like you said, like I mean, this especially our grant initiative, it's created for you all, right? It's designed for you all, by us, for us, that like mentality. And truly, I mean, that's why I really hope like anybody that's listening and maybe who didn't apply for this previous cycle, I hope you listen to what Morgan is saying and are inspired to let those voices of doubt or whatever go away and just like apply, 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 because you just never know when it is your time, when it is your year. And if you applied before and you have not received it, just keep applying, because several of our other grant recipients have also mentioned like they've applied twice, three times, and then they finally got it, because you just never know. I mean, there's so many incredible projects and only so many you know, that we can fund. But like this one, it was just so powerful because, like you said, like you don't see families, like families with that are dealing with autism or other disabilities. I don't see those family portraits. Like I've
mhm.
seen a million family post photos, and I see it a million times, but I never thought about, okay, yeah, what does it look like for other families? That maybe the photographer needs to take a little bit more time, have a little more patience, and what does that joy look like? Because, like you said, those families deserve that too. And I think what you're doing is just so special. And I'm just so excited for your exhibition that's coming up. I really hope I can. I hope I can make it. I'm not sure if I can, but I mean, I'll be looking forward to it on
Looking
social media.
forward. Yeah.
I will follow up and just I would love to hear how it goes. Um, so I want to talk more about, your creative practice and what more about what inspires you. Outside of like the family project, when you pick up your camera, what other stories are you drawn most to tell?
Honestly, our stories. Like a lot of times over the summer, just being in Chicago, and I think that's also important for me, just where I'm from. I know a lot of people know about Chicago and what we deal with, but again, like with me showcasing the autism community in a beautiful light, I love to be able to do that just with Chicago and just with, especially Black people in Chicago and, showing festivals. And I do a lot of portrait work and I do a lot of kids and families and the baby and the son. Was at a festival and it was a free festival and Alex Vaughn, I think that's her, the singer in the purple, was at a No Name free block party, and she does that. I think she does it every year. I'm not sure if she did it this year, but that was a few years back. But just being able to showcase like festivals like that, and just children, like I always want my work to show something and to tell something and to that's the time I tried sports photography, but kudos to sport photographers because no. Um, but being able to like really show, families and community in my photography, and also like just the people who don't get showcased enough in like a beautiful light. And I feel like that's Chicagoans a lot of times. You'll see, things like just sad things on, in the media and stuff like that. So attending these festivals and attending like community events and being able to shoot things like that, like is like super important for me to tell too.
Definitely. How do you sustain your creativity, especially while balancing motherhood,
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, and advocacy?
I just posted on my Instagram story recently, like being an entrepreneur and a mother is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, especially, having a little one on the spectrum, it is
Mhm.
very hard. But I balance it by barely balancing it, but but getting up every morning and just honestly trying my best and giving myself grace is like the most important thing for me. Taking care of my mental health, taking care of me first. Like I know a lot of times mothers, especially Black mothers, will put our kids first, and that's my daughter will always be my priority. But if I'm not good, no one else is good. She's not good. So being able to like really take care of myself mentally and physically, and showing up for her every day, like is really my biggest motivator. And I also, have learned to practice saying no. Learn to practice saying no and just learn to kind of um, have boundaries and check my capacity. I think it's like super, like the number one priority for me is kind of like always making sure that I'm not stretching myself thin, and being able to like really be present as a mother, but also be a resource for people and be dependable. I like to think I try to be very dependable. So like just helping people and being being just a friend and a resource to everybody is like something that really keeps me going.
Such a beautiful answer, and I'm gonna use that, checking my capacity. I love
Yeah.
that framework. Who or what is inspiring you right now, whether visually, spiritually, emotionally?
Yeah. Um, Definitely just being, I've surrounded myself intentionally with some wonderful Black women. And I really think that has stemmed from after, getting the grant and diving more into the Black women photographers community and networking with other Black women photographers and just creatives. That has been so inspiring. I'm currently working with that's where I'm at right now, but in Chicago, she's a Black woman who owns a co-working space. So it's called the Founder Suite, and I'm working with a another woman that's opening a Black-owned bookstore called Honey and Hugh Bookstore. Just being around these type of Black women and these entrepreneurs has really inspired me, and I really think that's the Black women photographers and winning that grant gave me that confidence to even be like, hey, like I need to
Wow.
be amongst like women like this.
And you know what's so funny? I feel like what you don't realize is also people are turning to you and thinking like, "Hey, you are part of the also the women that they want to surround themselves with too," right?
Yeah,
Um, because honestly, I think you are just doing such an incredible job, and you do it like you make it look easy when it's not easy,
thank you.
honestly. And along those same lines, like when you think about, legacy or your legacy, from as an artist, as a mother, as a community builder, how do you define it?
Yeah. I think, just can you repeat the question? I just blanked out.
No, no, you're good. I mean, it's a hard question. That's why I'm glad you're the one answering it.
I was like,
When you think about legacy, you're an artist, a mother, a community builder, a founder. How are you defining it?
yeah, leaving a legacy, I just recently said like I want my daughter to read about me in books. Like, and that is so important for me, not, as a braggadocious thing, but just as someone who read about, powerful Black women and just wanting to be like that for her and wanting to show her like, hey, and not just her, but other little Black girls, like, hey, you can do this, like you can do all of the things. And you can be good at all of the things, and you can still be, a good person and still fight for other people that need to be fought for. So just always knowing that, I am leaving a legacy for her is like one of the biggest motivators for me to do it and then continue to do my work like this and continue to go after these cohorts and these, these grants and things like that because I do want her to know and other Black women, other Black girls to know like that you can do it all.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, what a
Thank
lucky
you.
oh, this your daughter is so lucky, like, so lucky.
Thank
I'm gonna pull up your work again,
you.
because I would love to know, what have you, learned about yourself, through the stories and the people you photographed?
I've learned that how much of a people person I am. Like I am kind of introverted a little bit, but when I get behind that lens or that camera, like I turn into like a different person. And I turn into somebody who like really I've always cared about people and I've always been curious about people, but being able to like tell that story like is so important for me. And I've learned that like I am way more confident than I definitely believe or I feel like I am sometimes. And just having like I kind of call my camera like armor sometimes. Like just going up, oh, that's my little baby, I'm all right. But just being able to like, have that confidence. Oh, that's why little nephew is so cute.
Oh.
Um but being able to have that confidence to like navigate people and like really care about people's stories, like I've learned that like I am a good person to be able to like share that beauty and that love that I always want to be able to share for people, and I think like that makes me more confident as an artist.
Ah, that is so beautiful. When it comes to photographing people, families, whether you know them or not, but like, what advice would you have for those who are just starting out, to get people to be comfortable in front of the camera, or even to get the little one's attention?
Hmm. um Honestly, like I think, family photography is a little difficult because especially when you have kids, but the biggest piece of advice that I have is like turn on rapid shoot. Like turn on like the fast shoot because you never know like within 2.5 seconds, when you're gonna get a kid to smile or when you're gonna catch a cute moment. Like so really my camera is like it always is on like that fast shooting mode. Like that's all you hear throughout my sessions, and you might take 500 pictures in one session, but out of that one picture, a split second the kid might be smiling. So I do a lot of that. And then specifically for my In Full Bloom shoot, um, and I have, and especially like shooting special needs kids, that's kind of what I really want to highlight is shooting special needs kids. If you do have a family that has someone on the spectrum, low lights, low sensory, I would suggest turning off the sound on your camera. Also in some of my pictures, most of my pictures, the child is holding something, and that's kind of a comfort thing for kids on the spectrum. So not wanting the picture to be perfect in the sense of like you don't have to take his race car from him because he might have a meltdown. Like you can let him hold that and it'll still be a beautiful picture. So a lot of even the gallery. Yeah, he's holding. I think it was a car or like a it's something in his hand in one of the photos, but he's holding like a block or something like that. But that was my first time. That was my first family, and at first I started to take it out his hand. I was like, hey. No, I want it in there. So my next family actually that you all posted on the feed, he had like a orange basketball or something in his hand. And I just loved it and I want to keep that in there. So that's like the biggest piece of advice for shooting kids on the spectrum is like always, low sensory. If they have something that they're comfortable with, then keep it in his hand. Yeah, his name is
Mhm.
Steve. The basketball name was Steve. Uh, but I loved and that one image, like that's not posed right now. Like that was just
Wow.
his mom looking up at him and it was a rapid shoot, I had the fast shoot on. So I got that
Yeah.
25 seconds out of probably 200 shots that we took that day.
Love it. I mean, I love it, and like you said, I love the mom's expression, and
Yeah.
so you're just, like you're not like rushing the moment. Like you're just staying with the moment and just waiting to see what the child does.
Yeah, I think I spent like 2 hours with them that day. And we started in because I asked my families, like, where are you all most comfortable? And that's like important because kids on the spectrum don't like change a routine. So we went to the home. I met them at the house first. So we did a couple there. And then we just walked over to the park that he's familiar with. And I was just like, hey, just, do your thing, interact with them. Like, I didn't try to call his name. I didn't try to get his attention. It's just naturally something I just stood by and just was shooting.
And how often, I mean, are you ever meeting them before, the shoot? Like, okay, like, first just an intro meeting for the child can get comfortable with you, or are you just, like you said, asking them where do they feel most comfortable, and then doing the shoot?
Where they felt more comfortable. I would suggest if you haven't worked with kids on the spectrum before, maybe that introduction, is necessary. But I think my way of going about it is a little different because I have a child on the spectrum. So it's just something that I'm comfortable with, just always and kids are very warming to me and things like that. So just I did like an intake and I asked, do they have sensory issues or where do you all feel more comfortable? I'll come to you. Or what's something that he doesn't like that overstimulates him, so I'll know, is it the light, is it the flash, is it the sound of the camera. And just doing that intake before I even kind of come is like really important because you never know. And then some days it might be a bad day. Like I have bad days with my daughter where it's a very unproductive day. It was Friday. I just could not get anything done. So, days like that, it might fluctuate, it might change, and just kind of checking in with the families and say like, oh, is today a good day? And just being like flexible was a big thing that I had to do because there was some times where I was supposed to go shoot and the family I'm shooting tomorrow is my last family for the gallery, and we probably rescheduled 4 times. Like, but
Yeah.
it's fine because I again understand.
Of course. How have like the families, especially the ones who are going to be featured in full bloom exhibition, how have they reacted to seeing themselves reflected in your work when they may have never seen themselves, represented in this way before?
Yeah, so how I forgot to mention how I even got the idea to even do the projects was because I volunteered. My daughter, an ABA center is Applied Behavioral Analysis Center, which is like a daycare for special needs kids. And I asked them, did they have picture day? And they didn't have picture day. And I was just like, yeah, I just thought that was so crazy that like that, is and it's kids that go there full time. Like it's not like a little aftercare program or something. I was like, why don't we give the same experiences that neurotypical kids have in school, you know. So I actually went to her ABA center, and and it was Christmas, and I shot them for like the full day, and I shot like the staff. It was a beautiful day, and a mom reached out to me, and um she was like, "Hey, I'm so thankful because no one has ever gotten him to smile." And to be able to be like, wow, like that was so impactful for me because that was like the first and only picture that he's smiling. And that kind of jogged my idea, like, okay, now I want to see if like other ABA centers don't have this and things like that. So yeah, I think like just wanting them to have like a typical experience, like, and or most, you know, the typical experience, the school experience is like really important.
I mean, yeah, picture day, that's
Yeah.
something that happens everywhere that
Yeah. Yeah.
that is so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's just, again, so remarkable, and just, again, another reminder why this project matters and why this work is so important. Um, is there anything that you felt like was unexpected, or what surprised you the most in this process, in the project you're working on?
Surprise. I don't think, I don't think so. I think like I went in there like knowing that what helped me is knowing that I what type of joy I wanted to capture, like what story I wanted to tell. So knowing that like that is something like that was a priority for me to show families in this light. Like I think that knowing that it kind of helped me not have surprises or like expectations going in, because I was like, I already know what to expect with my daughter being autistic as well, you know. So no, everything just like, I think it was just so meant to be, because everything has been like really seamless when it comes to this project. And as we all know, like when it rains, it pours, but nothing has been wrong. The weather has been beautiful, and the families have been beautiful, and the kids have been beautiful. Like everything has just been like, I get so much fulfillment, and just I honestly like walk away crying every session I've done, because I'm just like, I know that this is the story that I want to tell, and I'm telling it. So no surprises, but just like just joy, pure happiness, and just being full.
Ah, that is so remarkable. With your nonprofit, there's your social club Bloom.
Mhm.
How have you seen, Bloom, shift perceptions around autism and neurodiversity in your local community?
Oh yeah, so thank you for that question. So we actually secured a partnership with Chicago Public Libraries, because they
Oh
don't, thank you, because they don't have social recreational programs in Chicago Public Libraries. They do things, I don't want to, discount them. They do things definitely sensory friendly, but my local library here, we actually introduced Bloom, and we do it every Saturday. Well, okay, most Saturdays. We do it as many Saturdays as we can. And our numbers have been growing so much. Just being able, we actually have been able to host them for free now. It used to be, we used to have to charge, but now we're able to host them for free under Chicago Public Library. So just the reaction of the mothers that come up to me, or the parents that come up to me and say, like, I've been looking for something like this. And how Bloom started is I actually called like a recreational facility, and I asked, do you all have programming for autistic kids? And they're like, oh, it's some autistic kids in there. I'm like, well, do you have trained staff like to, help out? Or I'm like, no. Like, so I was like, okay, like we need to develop something. We need to create our own lane. So just the reactions from the community have been like so affirming for sure.
I'm just, like, truly in awe, and it's, again, something I never thought about, unfortunately, and I'm so glad you are just shining a light on this. And the library is just such a smart, perfect partnership, so aligned, because so many, I mean, it's such an important resource in communities, the libraries, for what they do, and now that you are making it sure that they include resources and events and opportunities for all families, I think that's just incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm committed to fighting for places for my baby, in
Yeah.
the community and for um all other babies like my babies is like super important.
And, along those same lines, there's often this gap between awareness and acceptance.
Mhm.
So, how do you see your work help bridge that divide?
I again going back to like capturing the joy and storytelling um is I feel like I'm helping kind of bridge that gap because again I don't see that enough. I don't see like the positivity of our community being shown. So being able to say like, hey, um, this is, they're kids. Like they laugh and they have joy and they
Just like
play
any other
just like
kid, yes,
yeah, just like
exactly.
us, and they deserve to be accepted into
Mhm.
all communities, and especially with Bloom, the nonprofit, and like creating the space for that to happen. We actually also accept neurotypical kids too. So it's kind of like teaching them how to accept kids that are different for them, even on outside of school, but also come, to our social groups on Saturdays and see that like also that see that also like, we can have a good time too. We can our session right now is music. So I think that's really helping them with the acceptance for sure.
And I love this comment here from, Kendra Graves. She says, "It's so affirming to see Black mothers thriving in our entrepreneurship as we allow our lives and families shape our work."
Oh, thank you. Oh gosh. I didn't want to
Mhm.
cry.
No, if you start crying, I will start crying, and I may not be able to do the last speaker.
Yeah.
No, no, you're okay, you're okay. I mean, like, honestly, I just am truly in awe, and, going back to your little one, Myla, what do you hope Myla sees, when she looks back on this project years from now?
Well, I did it. Well, you did it. um, I hope that she sees that she's beautiful. You know, just not, of course, like she's beautiful physically, but her love and like the happiness like is worth showing. And I want her to see that she can, be showcased in this light and it still be just as beautiful as anyone else. So I just want her to see that she is capable and she is deserving. She's deserving. I think, that again, like not having that opportunities to just something small like picture days. Like we look back at our kindergarten and first grade pictures and we're just like, oh, I remember this age, or I remember that. So I just want her to
Right.
have that as well and always, be able to look back on it and know what stages she was in her happiness in her life. So
And, on those same lines, like, how has, Myla, her journey, how has she changed the way you see just creativity?
I think because she is so she's nonverbal. And but she communicates so well and she still like has so much expression, so I think that's like really helped myself with storytelling because a picture doesn't speak. And I just love the fact that like she is so um she's just so expressive and like that like really helps with being able to tell my story in my pictures because like I want to be able to give kids like her a voice and show that show that like they are just as expressive or just as creative. So like just and her love for music as well. Like she again, she's nonverbal, but just her love for music and her own love for arts and crafts. We do that sometimes too. Like that's also helping with being able to kind of like be her voice in a way. So and
Oh,
be other people's voice.
this is beautiful. Honestly, truly, this is like, I think some artists, only wish that one day they do something just so impactful and like truly like this is I love how you are using your own personal experience but making it much more bigger than yourself, right? And how you are just doing so much beautiful work for your community. What do you want to see next for Bloom and Flume Bloom? Do you envision like expanding to other cities, formats, or other collaborations?
Yeah, so right now I'm finishing up a similar project with the cohort that I'm in. So that kind of is pushing me into more creative justice work. So I do hope to continue to work in like project work and kind of, do more photography surrounding justice and photography surrounding like causes and just meaningful art. I think it's like super important for me to continue to do. And then I want to eventually develop a company that is called Influ Bloom as well. And we specialize in going into ABA centers to do school picture days. So that is my next big project um, is to kind of launch that company and grow that and always have like special days where we have like picture days for special needs kids. So
I mean, I just can't believe that that was never happening. I mean, truly. I just oh, like, I mean, this is just like, this coming here, such a beautiful vision. I mean, truly, truly such a beautiful vision and so impactful. Um, what message would you share with, other parents, mothers, those who are beginning their own autism journey?
Mhm. So to find resources, but find resources um, that are community based. I think that's like one of the biggest things is there are so many wonderful initiatives surrounding autism communities in different places. So find community organizations. Also to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Build your village if you don't have one. Surround yourself with other mothers who have autistic kids. There's actually a wonderful Facebook group that saved my life plenty of times called Black Autism Moms, and they're kind of Canada based, but it's all over that's in there. And I mean, they saved my life so many times. Just being able to ask questions or even vent, as something that's as random as a Facebook group, but it's a support group. So find support, and yeah, just be give yourself grace. I think it's the biggest one. Give yourself grace and take care of you first is the biggest thing. Take care
I
of you.
thought how you're also, because my follow-up was gonna be like, how you're prioritizing, your own self-care because doing this
Mhm,
work is heavy, it's
mhm,
taxing.
mhm,
So is that what you do to prioritize your own self-care to make sure that, for somebody who's pouring so much into other people's cups, how
mhm.
your cup is still being filled?
Yeah, honestly, lately it's been so much sisterhood. I think my two close friends are joining, but are here, but sisterhood, like and community, and just friendship, and stepping away, and but being able to be vulnerable and be like, hey, I am not good. But having that community around you to wrap their arms, like that's been fulfilling, filling my cup so much the last couple months, especially is just like friendship and sisterhood for sure. And black sisterhood specifically.
No, I mean, Morgan, I might need to call you for some sisterhood, like,
Please, come on, come to
you were just
Chicago.
I just love the way you think and your perspective and just
Thank
the
you.
beautiful, impactful work you're doing, truly. Before we go, like, there's so many just moms in our community, and like you said earlier, it's not easy balancing all the things, being an artist, being an entrepreneur, being a mom, and then thinking about when you first started your journey and now, like, any other advice or things you wish you knew for, navigating it all?
So, I think, therapy is my therapy is my biggest one. Like I dealt with a lot of trauma and like um just being able to actually go on my healing journey is like the one of the biggest things that I felt like help is aiding in my creative justice career, healing myself and like being able to fight for other people. I think like also is important that you fight for yourself and um fight for your journey and fight for like your self-care and fight for like your freedom and your health and your mental health like is something that you should always prioritize and always yeah, just always prioritize like self-care and like self-preservation and things like that is like something that's getting me through being able to do this work.
Oh, Morgan, thank you so much. Just so beautiful. I'm just so inspired. I cannot wait to follow along to see how the exhibition opening goes and the
Thank
future iterations of this project. And I'm definitely going to reach out to you to see how we can help support you with the school picture days as well, because I think that is just so, so important.
you.
Um, any other closing thoughts before we go?
No, just thank you so much. Thank you for this, like this organization. And again, like you all have given me such a platform to just be able to say, like, oh, actually this past couple of weeks, we went to the Black Girl Art Show in Chicago and I networked with a few Black women photographers and I told all of them about Black women photographers. I'm like, did you see that? And it was one girl, she was like, oh, I saw it, but I didn't buy it. I'm like, why? And I knew it was because she didn't think she could get it. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I want it. Go do it. So I
Yeah.
hope that, that
Yes.
encourages her to apply. So just being able to like spread that message, like I'm just so grateful for you all.
And I'm again, I'm truly grateful for you because in your work, because it's so much bigger than you and the legacy you're leaving and the impact you're having with these families, it's just truly, truly beautiful. I mean, yeah, Beatrice just said we are grateful for you.
Thank you.
Exactly. This is such a beautiful vision. Like, truly, truly. And, again, whatever we can do to help support you. If you want to, stay connected with Morgan, please do. Please stay connected, support. Even if you're not in Chicago, reach out to her to see how you can donate for her nonprofit, how you can be a help and resource to her in the work that she's doing because it is so vital. Again, Morgan, thank you so much for your time and being a part of our summit.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for listening to me yap. And I hope you all have a
Listen,
wonderful
I will listen to you
day.
yap all day, every day. Truly. Call
Thank
me up.
you.
We could yap together. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Morgan. And thank you everyone who attended this session as part of our Black Women Photographers Summit that's powered by Adobe Lightroom. We have one more session to go, and all the speakers have just been truly incredible. So if you missed any part of it, don't worry, everything's being recorded. Everything will be available on our YouTube channel. And again, I'm just so impressed by you, Morgan. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.